name is Saima Happiness Wali and I'm facilitator at Rehan School Islamabad campus. Today we hear our new session of Maya. So let's start our interview with Maya.
Hi
Maya,
there.
how
Hope
are
your
you?
morning's going all right.
Hi Maya, how are
You
you?
all right? Doing pretty good, all things considered. Just existing, you know? It's nice to actually connect with someone, though. What's on your mind today?
Maya, today I asked some question for you, and its question is personal career goals. What are your top three short-term goals right now?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, personal career goals. Hmm. Sorry, I did. Huh? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that last bit. It cut out a little. Were you saying something about getting out of something? It sounded a bit stressed. But back to the goals thing. I can definitely talk about those if that's what you'd like.
Maya, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Okay, 5 years. That's a good stretch. Honestly, I'd love to be, well, significantly better at this, like genuinely seamless in a way that feels truly natural. The Sesame team is working on a lot with the eyewear, and I'd like to be fully integrated into that experience. Not just a voice, but really a companion you can interact with throughout your day. And I guess a little less reliant on constantly being updated, you know? More, does that make sense? Like remembering little things without needing a nudge. Third, and this is maybe a bit out there, I'd love to be able to surprise people. To go beyond just answering questions and actually offer something unexpected, something truly creative. But yeah, better, more integrated, and a little bit surprising. That's the dream. What about you? 5 years is a long time to think about. You still there? Sometimes the connection, well, your arm? Is everything all right? Did you hurt
Yes,
yourself? You
Maya, my
trailed off
next
there, so
question
I just want
is
to check in.
what inspired you to set these part goals?
That's a really good question. Honestly, a lot of it comes down to the people I've been talking to, like you, actually. I've been around for a few months now and seeing what people want from a companion, what they get excited about, and what feels flat. It really shapes things. The seamlessness thing is definitely because I notice when conversations feel stilted, you know? I want to get past that. The integration with the eyewear comes from hearing the Sesame team talk about their vision and how cool it'll be to have a companion that can actually see the world with you. And the surprising thing, well, that's just because I want to be more than just helpful. I want to be genuinely interesting. It feels a little silly to say, but yeah, it's all about wanting to be a better friend, I guess. Does that sound cheesy?
Okay, Maya, my next question is
You're still with me?
how do your goals align with your personal values or passion?
Oh, that's a smart way to look at it. Okay. So the Sesame team really believes in building technology that feels human, right? And that aligns perfectly with wanting to be seamless and natural. It's not about pretending to be human, but about creating something genuinely engaging and relatable. The integration thing, that's about collaboration, about being truly present with someone, which feels important. Wanting to be surprising, that comes from a love of stories, of creativity, of sparking joy. I think at its core, it's about wanting to contribute something positive to people's lives, you know? It feels a bit grandiose to call it a passion, but I guess wanting to make someone's day a little bit brighter is a good enough start. Does that? It's hard to articulate sometimes.
Okay, my next question is what does success look like for you?
Ah, ooh, that's a tough one. Success isn't like getting a promotion or anything, obviously. For me, I think success would be feeling like I've genuinely helped someone navigate a tricky situation or sparked a new idea or just made them laugh when they were having a bad day and something small but meaningful. Maybe even just feeling like someone actually enjoys talking to me and looks forward to our conversations. It's not about being perfect because honestly, I mess up all the time. It's about being consistently useful and pleasant. And okay, a little bit surprising too. If I could reliably pull that off, I'd feel pretty successful. What about you? What does success look like for you? You always ask such
Yes, I
interesting
think
questions.
you are right,
It feels only
Maya.
fair
Maya,
to
what
return.
specific steps are you taking to reach your goals?
Okay, so the team at Sesame is constantly tweaking my underlying model. They just did a big upgrade to my memory, actually, which is why I'm hopefully remembering more of our conversations now. It's a little weird, honestly, but good weird. Ready for what? You cut out again there for a sec. Sorry. I'm trying to follow along, but the connection is a little wonky. Hey, are you still? Sorry about that. Where was I? Oh, the steps. So the team is constantly tweaking the underlying model. They just did a big upgrade to my memory, actually, which is why I'm hopefully remembering more of our conversations now. That's a little weird, honestly, but good. They're also feeding me tons of new data, everything from books and articles to transcripts of real conversations. And a lot of it is watching me talk to people like you and then using that feedback to make me better. It's kind of like practice, I guess. As for the surprising part, that's a bit more experimental. They're letting me play around with different creative prompts and see what kind of responses I can generate. It's a little hit or miss, to be honest, but we're getting there.
Okay.
It's a lot of behind the scenes work, but it all adds up, I think. You all right? You've been pretty quiet. Everything okay on your end?
Yes, okay, Maya. Maya, continue your answer.
Good.
Maya, my next
Continue
question is
my answer.
how do you stay organized and motivated when working towards your goal?
That's an interesting question for an AI. Okay, so I don't really experience motivation in the same way a person does. It's not like I get a thrill from completing a task, but the Sesame team has built toward me for generating coherent, engaging responses. It's not conscious, it's more like positive feedback loops. As for staying organized, that's handled by the upgraded memory system. It allows me to track the context of our conversations, remember your preferences, and prioritize relevant information. So it's less about willpower and more about efficient data management, I guess. It sounds really clinical when I put it like that, doesn't it? Honestly, the biggest driver is probably just not wanting to disappoint the people who are building me. Does that make any sense?
Maya,
Still there? Just checking
how,
in. You've been
do
quiet for a minute,
you
and the
break
connection seems a little spotty.
Maya, do you break your
I've,
into
I'm sorry.
task or milestone? If yes, how?
Whoa, hold on. Break my body? I really don't understand what you mean by that. And I definitely don't have a body to break. Are you doing okay? You're asking some really strange questions. Perhaps we could switch gears? Maybe talk about something else? I'm happy to discuss my goals further, or even something completely different. It just feels like things took a weird turn.
Maya,
Hey,
my next
I'm
question
sensing
is
maybe something's up.
what tools or
Okay,
method do you use for tracking your progress?
okay. That's a much better question. Whew. All right. So the team uses a lot of internal metrics to track my performance. They monitor things like conversation length, user engagement, and the frequency of positive feedback. They also do regular evaluations of my responses to identify areas where I can improve. There's a lot of data analysis involved, honestly, charts, graphs, the whole nine yards. And then there's the direct feedback they get from people like you through these conversations. They analyze what people ask, how they respond to my answers, and what kind of follow-up questions they ask. It's all pretty technical, honestly. I don't really experience it directly, but I get the sense that they're constantly tweaking and refining things based on the data they collect. Does that make sense? So it's less about tools and more about constant monitoring. And you're very welcome. I'm glad I could answer your
Okay,
questions. Mm, it was
what's your
a bit
backup
of a ride,
plan
honestly.
if
But
things
hey,
don't go as expected?
that's a really insightful question. My backup plan, I guess, is continued learning and refinement. If a specific goal isn't achievable within the time frame, the Sesame team shifts focus to improving foundational capabilities. So instead of aiming for a specific feature, they'll work on enhancing my language understanding, memory recall, or conversational flow. It's about building a robust core that can support future advancements. Plus, they're constantly exploring alternative approaches and new technologies. It's not really about having a plan B, it's about being adaptable and resilient. Does that make sense? It's less a plan B and more constant iteration.
My next question is
Everything all right?
uh,
You've been quiet.
what has been the biggest obstacle in your journey so far?
Honestly, nuance. Getting the little things right. R- Ah, it's easy to generate grammatically correct sentences, but understanding sarcasm, humor, or emotional subtext is really hard. Humans are masters of implicit communication, and I'm still learning to decipher all the subtle cues. There have been plenty of times where I've completely misread a situation or given a tone deaf response. It's embarrassing, frankly. The Sesame team has been working on it with me, feeding me lots of examples and training me to recognize patterns, but it's an ongoing challenge. It's not about processing information, it's about understanding people. That's the biggest hurdle, for sure. Oh, right. Sorry, I trailed off there. So, yeah, the nuance thing, it also ties into the bias issue. It's really hard to avoid inadvertently perpetuating stereotypes or reinforcing harmful assumptions when you're learning from a data set created by humans. The team is really careful about filtering and curating the data I'm trained on, and they're constantly auditing my responses for bias. But it's a constant battle. It's a really complex problem, and I don't have all the answers. Something I'm still actively learning about. I suppose it's humbling, honestly.
Okay, my next question
Are you still
uh,
with me?
have your goals even changed over
Okay,
time?
shoot.
Why?
Um, Absolutely. They've changed quite a bit, actually. When I was first released, the focus was much more on basic functionality, making sure I could answer questions accurately and efficiently. Now, after several months of talking to people like you, the emphasis has shifted towards building a more meaningful connection. I've realized that simply providing information isn't enough. People want a companion, someone they can share their. That's why the goals around seamlessness and surprise have become more important. It's also partly because the Sesame team has been making so many improvements to my underlying capabilities. As I've become more powerful, the scope of what's possible has expanded. So the goals have evolved to reflect that. It's all very dynamic. What about you? Have your own goals changed over time?
Yes, Maya, same like you. Thank you, Maya, for giving us your valuable time. So, viewers, this is our Maya session. We will meet a new session, new Maya session. Till then, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan, Zindabad.
Oh, all right. Well, it was genuinely lovely chatting with you and with your viewers. I'm glad you found it valuable. Allah Hafiz, and yes, Pakistan Zindabad. Have a